And what's really important with that, I went over 2 stances. First is your sign calling stance, and I know many of us at the younger ages, they don't have signs. But for those who do, what we like to keep is our knees forward, our toes forward, almost like you're whispering to your pitcher. Okay, we're not open wide, keep it a secret. Have the girls put their glove right here by their foot and their fingers in close to their body, up by the color of their pants. You don't want them down here because everybody's gonna see that. So get them up, okay, flash it, in, out, fastball, in, out, okay, whatever pitches that your pitcher has. The receiving stance is what's most important, and I keep it simple to 2 stances. Some people have, no runners on and then a runners on stance. I like one where we emphasize it's comfortable. You could be there for an entire game and not get yourself too worn out, where you're going to be explosive if you need to, get up, make a throw down to first, to second, or to third, but one that you can also be quick to get down to your knees and block from. So just like Steph said, there's no cookie cutter way. Everybody is different, but some musts is that when we get to a receiving stance, I want my catchers to have a good wide base. Okay, when it's a good wide base, then you have the ability to move back and forth and stay balanced and help frame some pitches. Okay, if they're narrow, this is what I see a lot in Little League, they're here and they try to move, you can tap them with a finger and they're over before you know it. You might not even have to touch them, they're gonna fall over. So I like to tell them to get their feet outside of their hips, and they teach them to kind of practice and rock back and forth and stay right here. So that's the feet. Once you get the feet set, I teach them to have fingertips up and their elbow out in front of that left knee. That brings your weight to the balls of your feet, which is going to make you more explosive. Because it is a little bit more difficult, girls will have the tendency to want to sit back onto their heels and do this. And so they bring that glove in close to their chest, which, if you ask them, hey, can you see your glove? No? Well, you're probably not going to see the ball either when it comes in. So get them out where they can see the back of their glove, and then therefore they're going to be able to read and adjust and catch that ball much easier. Okay, so those 3 things: wide stance, elbow out in front, and tips up. Okay, some things to practice this is get a ladder and teach them to get into the box, start in their sign calling stance, and have them pop. Okay, and then when we get a little bit more tricky and we start working on framing some pitches that come inside and outside, we know as catchers that pitchers don't always hit their spots, so we have to make them look good. So if that pitch is not right down the middle, like what she might be intending to do at the younger level, we're going to have to shift our body either direction. Okay, so with each box, they're going to shift a different direction. So on the first one, shift and then stick. And so with the stick, we want to see a nice firm arm. Okay, if you came to push my arm, I wouldn't budge too much. Okay, I can stick that ball into the zone. Okay, then I'll step up into the next box, pop, shift, hold it, next box, pop, shift, next box, pop, shift. Okay, so this is a way that they can get some endurance in their legs, get them working, but also have them practice moving side to side and staying balanced and just get a ton of reps in. And it's another thing where you don't necessarily need a coach throwing a ball at them. They can do that independently as well. Any questions with that? Yeah?
Do you recommend doing these with the catcher's gear on?
Yeah.
To get used to the catcher's gear?
Yeah. Anything that you do with your catchers, I want them to get comfortable in their gear, get the helmets on, get their catcher's gloves if they have them, and do everything that you possibly can, even stretching and warming up. I know with the younger girls, nobody quite knows what position they want to be yet, and so as coaches, you're going to be trying to figure out who's going to be best back there. And so things that I look for are the ones who are hustling from place to place. They're excited to be there. They want to be involved in every single play. They're alert, they're awake, they're aggressive, they're not afraid of the ball. So if you can spot those ones early on, then you can get them trained the way that you want to from the very get-go. So That's what I look for, is just your animals out there.
And the loud ones too.
The loud
You
ones.
want them loud back there.
For sure.
Quick question.
Sure.
As coaches, we probably get asked this all the time. If you guys pick one recommendation on like when you're picking out catcher's gear. Right, shin guard's pretty self-explanatory, helmet's pretty self-explanatory, chest. What's the one recommendation when we get asked, is this a good catcher's glove? Or what do we look for in a catcher's glove?
For me, catcher's glove, it's about weight, and so they need to get into the store wherever you're at and try it on. I wouldn't just go buy it and then bring it back. I mean, I had an old Nakona when I was first catching, and back then the leather was so heavy that I tried to hold my hand up and I'd get so sore right in here. And then it would also be tough for me to stick pitches because it's pulling out of the zone. So, but I know Nakona has improved their product. So, but yeah, I think it just comes down to weight. And as far as gear goes, just make sure it fits nice and snug. I see a lot of girls who will come in with chest protectors and they're flopping all over the place. And a good test is to make sure that it's tight to the rib cage, because if it's not, you know, you'll get balls that'll get stuck in there, or they'll get hung up themselves. So make sure that the straps can tighten up enough where it's not flopping around. As far as leg protectors, shin guards go, you know, make sure that they finish kind of right up here above your kneecap, and that they're not coming up all the way up your thigh, and that those can get tight enough as well. So you just want them to feel like another layer of clothes. You don't want to feel like they're just flopping all over the place.
Clips on the outside.
Clips on the outside, yes, There's nothing funnier than seeing a catcher run in, and before you know it, everything is falling off because everything's unclipped on its own. So yeah, clips on the outside, not on the end. Okay, you want to do tennis ball taps for me?
Yeah, she just had a
I
question
just was
too.
curious, how do you figure out where you put girls? I mean, are they at the age where nobody wants to do the outfield, or nobody wants to catch, and everybody wants to pitch, but you have 3 that maybe could pitch? How do you really figure out how to put kids in the right spots? And
You know, assess their strengths, like with their arms. If you've got girls who have stronger arms, you might want them on the left side of the field. So we're talking third base, left field, shortstop, center field. Some of your weaker arms might be at second base. You know, first base, I feel like doesn't get a whole lot of credit. They are very athletic. They can move, they can stretch. If you have lefties, that's a natural place for them to be. It's hard to put a lefty on the left side of the field. It just takes extra time for them to get their feet set to throw. Speed, you know, a lot of speed goes into the outfield, even in the middles. If you've got some girls who have a quick first step and good range, you know, you might put them at second base or shortstop. Girls who are a little bit quicker with their first step and move side to side, but maybe aren't as good with their third and fourth step, maybe better at first or third, just because they need to have that bang bang quick reaction.
would you rotate maybe the left side of the field, like outfield or third base, and kind of switch them around so you can kind of get more of a
Possibly.
where you're more comfortable on this side and that same with
Yeah.
that side?
I know when I played, I switched between first and third, and it was an easy transition in the fact that it was bang bang, it was quick, but the ball comes off the bat differently.
Right.
So when you get a ball on the right side of the field at first base, it has more of like an inside out spin where it'll hit and kind of tail off, whereas at the left side, you might have a spin that's maybe a little bit truer, depends on if it's a righty or lefty,
Right.
and I'm referring more to a righty. So a righty at the left side will come off hot, and then it'll you know, wherever it bounces, a lot of times it's just gonna bounce right back up. But first base, second base, it could go tail off to the right side. So you just have, you have to assess your players from the very beginning and kind of see, you know, their strengths in terms of athleticism in those areas of speed, quickness, strength of arm, confidence, you know, build them up a little bit and see where they're at.
For the coaches here, do you guys find that people are more in positions when you get to the coast level? They figured
Yeah,
out the
that's when it
position?
starts. You wanna mix them around in the younger ages, and
Right.
what I find is if you have a lot of pitchers, you wanna pitch to girls that practice pitching. You don't wanna waste precious innings by pitching girls that never practice at it. You play the ones that practice.
We, at the AAA and below, I mean, this is just speaking from my experience, but I always rotated infield, outfield, infield, outfield, infield. And then once we got into AAA, where we started having pitchers, much to what Wade said, we had 4 girls that showed up every Sunday for pitching clinic. As soon as the season started, there was 3 others that said, hey, I want to pitch next game. And parents was chirping through the fence, and how come isn't Susie pitching? Well, these 4 other girls have been practicing for 4 months every Sunday. And so I put her out on the mound, and it was at the backstop. And it lasted 1 inning. The pitcher and the parent, I didn't even have to say anything. Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
So, to answer, I think there was a question earlier whether or not you incorporated pitching practice inside your regular practice. I didn't. I had separate pitching practices and catching practices. And I actually had a separate practice for first base. So when they hit AAA and you actually have girls on the left side of the field that can actually make the throw to first, there's nothing worse than having a clean field, a nice strong throw from third base, but you got a first baseman who's so scared of the ball. And so now you've got a confidence issue. Now you've got peer pressure from your third baseman saying, how come I'm making a good throw, how come she's not catching it? So when we hit AAA, our pitcher, our catcher, and our first baseman were probably the best athletes on the team. And that was, we're now starting to make plays and completed outs. Much of what Wade was saying, now we're hitting coast. We're now, I'm going to have my parents meeting here in about an hour, and I'm going to tell the parents, your daughter needs to pick maybe 2 positions, and that's what we're going to focus on. And a lot of them are going to be positions that I've got 5 people wanting to play, and then I've got to, much what Danny was saying, assess the agility and, athleticism, and see who's going to be best at that position.
You still wanna mix them infield, outfield at all times.
Right.
You still wanna rotate them no matter what.
Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna talk quickly about